listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to Upptalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say Upptalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
What are the default users of the Aseman? How they will work? What is the data user? Same continue. Next. 10 questions. Has it showed such a video web? Oh, 1 sec. No problem. You can later dive. Let's say you got it. This is it. These are very important questions. What are the configuration files for Vault and Deer? What are the configuration files? Configuration files. What is the configuration file for Vault and Deer? Vault is DB from datalamp and Deer PAD.m5. Let's find and leave it. What are the services for Vault? Default services. Once you post the installation, what needs to be checked? What are the services for the Vault? Default services for the Vault. Default services, which we have seen right in the server. What are the default services for Vault? Well, you can type all the components here. You can mention all the components. Default services Vault. All the components. You can read it for all the components. CP and D on Vault. What is the port for internal communication for all the components? Port number for internal communication. What is it? And what is LDAP? I'll drop integration. This is which cyber? You know right. How to do? Just explain them. The steps we need to give the domain name and which we need to create some. Before doing the other integration, we need to create these. There are the 4 groups in the Active Directory. One binary user, we need to create it. Why we are creating the binary user to authenticate them? We have to create binary user with read down ASAs by using the binary user credentials. We are connecting to the Active Directory. We need to create for those for cyber. I mean want to use the same members. These are the 4 groups which we need to create in the Active Directory, and we have to map that. explain like that. And how to do. What is the port for LDAP? Which we are using port number for LDAP. For the I'll ask anyway. I'm explaining now that you can write down some questions. In that document, it's enough for the errors. You can just prepare that document and explain them. That is fine. And that is the port number of their labs. What is the HTTP HTTPS port? Comma. What is ATP HTTPS port? Not here. It's external T. Actually, what is the port number? What is the HTTP support? Such as comma RDB. 338 net. Windows connection port for fire. This person will come very early. And next 17. What other default here? Just by PBU here. I think it's done. That is the VRT. Actually, the default user for PBU, PBDO. Actually, we will have. I think how to change the password for the users. How to change the password for the users. And how to unlock the user through PBDO. First, what is the password for plan? That's a probability outcome. How to do bulk uploading? What is the steps which we are following? How to do the bulk uploading accounts? Bulk uploading. And the saves and platforms. You know, right? I don't want to include the interrequisites. How to create the saves. How to create the platform. All these also will last. How to give the permissions at safe level. What under permissions which we need to give. How to give the permissions at safe level. You can mention that. How to give the permissions at safe level. Permissions at safe level. How to create saves platforms and how to configure the master policies and exceptions. These you have. I don't want to include these questions also. These are the major questions you may get it on in the interview. Anything, if it is in my mind, definitely I will let you know. This is the payment administration troubleshooting issues. What are the troubleshooting issues which we are facing? And how to take the action, how to take the response from the support team, and everything it is available by this end of the class session. We will able to describe the basic flow for the double shooting issues in the cyber environment and describe by locate and manage the log files And wait, we need to check the log files. And if something happened, what needs to be checked? And what are the log files which we are having? What is the exact log? What is the cause of error? All these things which we will discuss here. And one thing, if something we are not able to resolve the issue, maybe you can get the question in the interview. If something is not able to resolve the issue within your organization, what is the next step which you guys are going to take? We can say we will reach out to the support team of the cyber app company. They will get, we are not able to resolve the issue. We will send the mail. Who will send that mail? Whoever having the defender and senator examinations certifications, those guys can rise the having the access to raise the request. Basic troubleshooting methodology for spam solution requires through the understanding of your system implementation. What is your system implementation? How components communicate with each other in your environment, and what is the current behavior compared to the expected behavior? These major things which we need to know. For example, if something happened, if CBM is component is not working, what is the type which we need to go and see that? Because whether it is component service, whether it is the port number is working or not, it is IP address is working or not, whether it is server is active or not. These things we need to check. If CBM is not working, that means services is not working. We need to check. The first step would be the services, whether the CBM services is working or not. Where we need to check. These are the service. There are some services that are necessary. We can go and check there. These things. These are the minimum basic ones which we need to require. Acknowledge of the enrollment layout, access to the different servers, and access to these number of answers. Do not go with a proxy way, and always I can suggest you always go with the customer community portal. Whatever the persons, your environment, keep there, you can post there, and you can get the answer. Even still, I am also doing today. Even though I have an IT as an experience, still I am. Whenever I do not have a clarity, then I will go and check in the community portal. In the community portal, you can get whatever the answer you require. You can get it with the resolution for a resolution. Access to the CyberArk documentation publicly is available always. It is an online. We can go into the documentation of the CyberArk. Whatever you want, you can read it. For example, if you do not have a clarity on CPM, if you do not have a clarity on PSM, you can go and read the documentation. It is available in the documentation of the CyberArk portal. It is available, each and everything it is available. What I am giving the training, it is available in the CyberArk portal. That will give you very clean explanation with proper screen sets. The troubleshooting flow here, you can see here. This is the complete flow. Understand the environment, topology, technology, and whatever it is. We need to understand how it is. How many goals are there? What is the components or how it is connecting? How, what is the account? How many things? These many things which we need to understand. But depends upon scenario. If it is relevant to the account, we need to understand what is that account. Why it is love? What is the reason behind that? Everything we need to understand. And based on that, we need some backup. You want to do something else. We need some backup, right? For example, if one user is love, what is the backup? Do you have any idea? What is the backup? We require some backup to resolve that issue for that ticket. based on the tickets which we need to work here. Here you can see the understand the environment topology and first step. The next step is the initial questions. Focus on user experience. And the questions which we need to focus. What is the question? What needs to be answered? That. And I'll show you the issue to specific scenario by trying to reproduce. If you don't know, you can check the documentation on Knowledge Bases community portal. You can check that and you can read the documentation and understand that. Then take the action proper way. Or stay late on, not able to get this on issue, and check the relevant logs. For example, if he's facing the CPM, you can go and see PM logs. You can check the log files and check that, and next step would be the follow up to with questions. Uncheck the documentation and knowledge base. And then finally, if you don't know anything, you are not able to take any action. After all these steps happen, you are not able to take the action. You can go and connect with cyber support and they will resolve the issue. Don't be panic editing. If you are not able to rigor directly, go and check with CyberArk game. They will give you the power answer because they will give you some service for us. Let us see till today. Whatever you are learning, that is different. But today, what you are learning, that is different. This is complete troubleshooting issues. What steps which we need to follow? We need to understand the basic idea, minimum basic idea. You don't want to depend on anyone. You can always depend on your cyber app documentation, your cyber app support, your cyber app community portal. We can get number of answers. You can get number of scenarios for the particular error. During this presentation, we will review each block on the flow and apply it to the basic scenario. Here you can see first understanding the environment, how to understand. Which components are installed and where it is installed and how many servers it is installed. All these things we need to understand. This is common scenarios, common troubleshooting, which I am explaining, not taking any one particular error. I am not explaining, that will not give you the more exposure. If you understand this complete concept, then you can easy to understand which components are installed and where, and what is the version of the relevant components. For example, if voltage installed 20.1 and the signal is installed in a different way, definitely it will work. Whatever the version you are installing, you have to install, we have to follow. Apply for all the components. Is the load balancer is using RD, you have to check that an RDR and HR solution system implement. DDR recovery or HR, I have availability applications. I have availability applications, nothing but cluster words. The next one is initial questions. For focus on user experience, what type of questions we need to raise and what are the user experience here and how many users are affected here and what are the error messages which is displaying in the system. And based on that which we need to take and the new implementation of work or broken, anything happened and something changed when the issue is started. Before starting the issue, is that anything changed and was there a process class? How does it impact and the production are reproducible or it is impacting and production? What step which we need to take? These are the initial questions which we need to keep in our mind. Isolation and reproduction and reproducible modifying variable and trying to reproduce it, taking and repeat the different scenarios. We can check the previous. It was happened or not. What was happened and earlier and what is the current situation and everything we need to see and write down each scenario and the outcome of the test and the reveal a network not working. Review the logs of reproducible scenarios and not reproducible something is a log files. Reveal logs and relevant for the reported flow, and we need to check that log files. The next one is the log files. You might aware that some of the log files are there for the word ITA, not log file, and some log dot wherever it is called. Some log files are there. ITA log file. ITA log file is very important because all the word related logs, it will be available. ITA log file. Remember guys, you may get a question in the interview. Log locations, log types, underlog no correlation, and the follow-up questions. How to do the follow-up questions, revisit and refine the questions, and we need to see that. And the documentation is on knowledge base. Yes, I told you right. The documentation we can get it on the cyber documentation and knowledge base. We can get into the community portal. Here we can see this. The colleagues and any users. You can get some answers from them. If you can check internally, even if you can check with health rates. You can check with architects and get some information about that scenario. If you don't know, if you know why, as much as possible at a level, if not even possible, check with others. Knowledge base and messages under responses, document installation and implementation documents. Whatever the documents you are having. Most probably, whatever the documents I am saying I have saved right, this will enough. Without depending on others. And run the scenario. All the scenarios is available with examples. Contacting cyber support. How to contact in demand details. We need to provide some data to them and user experience. Did it work in the past? It was working in the past. Now it is not working. What is the reason behind that and what are the reason? Due to this, due to the, if you know the reason, you can provide the reason. If you don't know reason, you don't provide that. Are there any error message? If you have, you can share with them flow and current and expected behavior you can share with them. And troubleshooting steps. If you don't know, keep it, as you can say I don't know anything. They will give us the troubleshooting steps and they will resolve the issue. All the relevant logs and screenshots and configuration files which don't send configuration files and just take the screenshots and send to them. Complete configuration files, complete lab files. Don't send them, just take the screenshot particular scenario and send to them. Again, ITS or photo authentication failure for the user administrator. That means that for this user not able to connect the private or something, not able to connect the way we do, some authentication failure issue. Maybe account is locked. We need to see what is the authentication failure for that user. User is unable to log in due to the bad credentials or account is locked or some other reasons. Maybe that account is not there in that. That is the reason the user is unable to log in into the private or plant using the administrator user. See them following message. This is what the message which we are. For that, what needs to be take the action, we can see the flow. User is unable to log in. Understand the environment first. Understand the environment topology. One world product on 1 year world 1 per CPM. This is a basic example. Understand environment, the how many components are how many servers is running. What is the version of that? And next is the initial questions. Next questions. What is that? Is this issue experienced by all the users or one user? Or how many users? If this issue is experienced by all the users, yes or no? Check that. If it is one user, you can give it as a 1. Did it work before? Yes, if it is working. Yes, if it is not working. No, then was something, it was something change. No, if it is not changing anything, you can keep it as a no. Is there any error message? Yes, we have one natural message. That is the pop-up here. Next, I saw that the issue to specify the scenario by trying to reproduce. The same issue is PIVA or only in private or client. We need to check that. If it is both in, maybe if it is not working private or client, definitely it will not work in PVR and if it is reproducible. Yes, and the next one is check the relevant labs. We need to go and check the relevant labs. Open the title log file on phrase.tuco file. Check that ideal log.log file. What is the error? Error. Origin unknown error member. And check the messages and response. What are that there? Try to identify the problem by searching the messages and response space in the online documentation. Here the messages and responses in the private or client. Click on the private or client. You can check the story. See here, the messages displayed to the end users are in the end links. Not only generic listing many possible causes. Here you can see recommended action. What are the actions are there? What happened here? Just administration, home administration, references and messages and responses. That is the part. Once you click on the message and responses and click on the digital world server and the application here, authentication failure for the username. Then what is the action? Here you can see the username and our password are incorrect. Make sure the correct user credentials are used or administrator can reset the user's password. The user is not allowed to access this station. To grant the access, these are the scenarios. For this user, what exactly needs to be taken? We don't know. Right, for the administrator, authentication failure means maybe it is possible to use the username and password. Maybe incorrect or it was blocked. Administrator credentials entered by 5 times. It was locked. That time it is not able to authenticate. These are the scenarios which we need to check on, which we need to clear. The user attempted to log on with an authentication method not defined for the user, including the PACS, CyberArk authentication, RDS, and the lab provider. All these things. And ensure that the user is using the correct authentication method, or modify these details to match the authentication method he is using and in the provider plan. While creating the user, we are giving the authentication. Ensure that we are giving the proper authentication. That there are some error measures. If possible, you can take the print for this. In the interview, you can read the authentication codes. You know errors, course, and tell them, these are the errors which we are facing while doing the work that everyone will accept. Your real-time employee. Check the message or some responses. Because the error message starts with IDA, that means always open that IDA. IDA means it's a wall to log, ID file. We know that the wall server is generated. This error. By using this code, for example, CP mirror, it will start with CP. IDA, that means it is relevant to the wall error. At this point, we will go to the wall server and inspect the wall, ID, IDA log file. There might be multiple log entries for the same problem. We can see that all these things for our problem, it should be a 66 code number. This is the highlighted here, specified. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.